talking about. Went to one of your events down in Anaheim in 2011, joined up right away, saw the value instantly in having people pursuing me rather than me pursuing them, getting warm leads rather than, door knocking, cold calling, all the things I was being taught at other brokerages, and just your USPs and your benefit rich messages that were getting put out there to the marketplace really had me very interested right away. I mean, day one, I was just like, okay, I'm in. What do I got to do now? And I've been full steam ahead for the last 12 years with you. And each and every year, just learn more, understand things more deeply. The market shifts. Sometimes some things will be really relevant. Sometimes things will be a little less relevant, but you're always on point to tell us kind of refocus on, hey, this is probably going to work in this market right now. Excited to talk about some of those things that are working right now, which, like you said, 2-3 years ago weren't so relevant because anyone could sell a house. Now sellers are much more discerning in who they're going to pick for the very important job of getting their home sold. And you have some great programs that help them with that. But throughout the journey, I went from being a solo agent, having a transaction coordinator, kind of having a buyer's agent, to having a full team. In 2018, I was able to really stress test my business. I was living in Ventura, California at the time, moved 5,000 miles away with my wife and 4 awesome kids, ran my business from 5,000 miles away, 8-hour time difference. My business not only survived, it thrived while I was gone. So the business didn't depend on me because I couldn't take buyer appointments. I couldn't take seller appointments. I was physically not there. I did not come back for 11 and a half months to California until we moved back. It was a 1-year deal. I talked my wife into going for 1 year, one of the best years we've ever had. And also as a business, I got to, like I said, really stress test it. And, without the Craig Proctor system, without a plan, without being able to duplicate my business in California, there's no way I could do that. When I moved to Ireland, the local agents, the local brokers, even family members thought I was insane. They said, there's no way you're going to pull this off. And I said, oh yeah, it's going to happen. It's going to be no problem. There was all the naysayers, right? Came out of the woodwork and said, I don't know how you're going to do this. You don't know anyone. And we didn't know a living soul here, right? And we moved. And because of the systems, because of the business plan you have, because of all the benefit rich programs you offer, just a little bit of time to set up, 3 to 4 months, and then we're off and rolling. And we've been here for 18 months and we're serving the whole Middle Tennessee community and having great success, and still maintaining the California office as well. So the thing I love about your unique selling propositions are they're benefit rich to the consumer. So either the seller or the buyer, right? I mean, some other people have unique selling propositions, or what they think are unique selling propositions, of like they play golf and they have like golf clubs, or they surf, or these other things, or they have a dog. It's like, that's not really making you unique, but your USPs really speak to the consumer, puts their needs above and beyond everyone else's. And they go, wait a minute, this is something that's interesting. So you touched on, the one that kind of started everything for you, of your home sold guaranteed or we'll buy it. Like, that's a pretty big USP that people go, wait a minute, how does that work? That gives me certainty, which as a seller, that's the number one thing I want, is certainty. So Mike's saying that my home's either going to sell or Mike's going to buy it. The other guys down the street aren't saying that. Actually, no one else in the marketplace is saying that. Like, I'm going to call him and at least have a conversation with him first to see how that works, because that's exactly what I'm looking for. I'm not looking to list my house. I'm not looking for the process of listing my house, showing it all these extra things. Like, I just want my home sold.
Mike, let's go over to you and talk about some of the other unique selling propositions that may appear a little bit less scary for our audience.
Sure. Yeah, I just want to touch on 2 things before we jump off of this one. So Bill Watson said it yesterday, which is another longtime member of the Craig Proctor family. He said, customers don't always do what they call about, right? So having this unique selling proposition out there and saying, hey, we'll buy your home if it doesn't sell, it just gets people to call. Now, not everyone's going to opt in for that guaranteed sale program. That's fine. But like you said, I'm sitting at their kitchen table having a good discussion, and I have all sorts of other stuff I can offer them as well. And then I'm still able to service them. Not everyone really wants to go through with this USP, right? Like, but you're there talking to them and you're able to help them with other services. The other thing, as we go through these, I think the people I've been around, one thing that's great about, again, the Craig Proctor family and everyone that's part of that, is you are the sum of the 5 people you hang around with the most, right? You're the collective mindset of the people you're around. And the great thing about you and all the people you've attracted to is we think like, how can we, rather than you can't. So I know some people right now are thinking, well, I can't do that in my marketplace. I can't do that with my broker. I can't do that because of this regulation. I can't do that in this state. It's like, people are doing this in every single state in America, plus Canada. What's your exit strategy? Are you just going to sell homes until you die one day? That's some people's exit strategy. Are you going to sell homes until you have enough money and you set aside enough in your investments that you're just going to retire? Hopefully. But we know, unfortunately, Craig, that in the real estate industry, most people don't have any exit strategy. They're just looking at like, I'm going to sell a house this month, and then I'm going to sell a house the next month, and I'm going to try to do as much as possible. And it's just, 1 year at a time. It's like you get people thinking a little bit bigger and a little bit farther out there of like, okay, where do I want to take this whole thing? With your system, you have all those different levels that you can work towards and have some sort of exit strategy, so that as you can't just keep grinding it out week after week, month after month, year after year, it's like, okay, this is the plan. I'm going to get to the press box. I'm going to have something that's an actual business, that's a sellable asset that I can put less and less time in, but still it just is just working and the wheels are all spinning and everything's going.